Episode 11. Kiszmet, welcome. If you are here for the first time, I welcome you in. Come in, take your shoes off, and sit on my lap. Kiszmet comes from the Turkish or Arabic word Kiszmet, which means destiny, and we must earn our destiny because nothing is granted to us without energy towards what we seek and all we desire. My platform, mission, and purpose focuses on the science and art of connection. Okay, it's not just science. That's my bias, but it's also the art. Because just standing here for myself is a part of the representation of the energy, optimism, and hope and resilience it takes to go confidently in the direction of my dreams. Because I started this platform to find the love of my life, and I'm still on the hunt. We're getting closer. And in the process, we've accumulated over 400,000 followers, the majority female. If you haven't seen my content yet, I suggest you see the short form content. There's over 10,000 videos on short form platforms, right? Take me in little doses before you handle the whole D. And I am here to help bridge this gap we have, not only in knowledge and experience, but also in perspective and philosophy, pitting men against women, pitting us against ourselves, embracing unnatural loneliness in the most modern era in all of history. And it's a shame and it's a sham, and we will overcome it together. So I am here to inspire hope, to share my own journey, and to learn from you all to get us closer to our happily ever after, okay? Now, at first, yes, I talk a lot about romantic relationships because that's the focus of my personal life right now. So obviously, as an extension of that, it's going to spill over. Today's episode, I actually want to focus on, a thought popped into my head about loyalty, right? Now, this is something that I don't really think about a lot anymore in my own life because I don't really fear it. Now, of course, when I finally choose the one, I am going to experience vulnerability that can come with paranoia, distrust, fear, extra avoidant tendencies, all these types of things. But I have been around the block. I've learned a lot. And I know I'm pretty aware of what fears creep up in the crevices of my mind, in the dark nooks and crannies of the late nights I spend by myself every night. Okay. Antisocial personality disorder. No, I'm joking. Do not believe in those boxes that people put people in. All right, the DSM-5 is just self-representation. We need fMRIs to actually see if the amygdala is stunted before we just classify people so we can self-soothe. But the point being that loyalty is not something I think a lot about. I don't worry when I imagine my relation, when I reflect on them. Of course, we could argue at a very primal level, mate guarding, possessiveness, paternity for a man are very key concerns, and they symptom out like tentacles into potentially side byproducts. But for me, that's not what I worry about. I worry about a woman being turned away by my darker side, right? Not going to another man. Honestly, I think a woman would be too nervous to do that. You know, there are men who get cheated on, and I know I've had friends like that. The pushover, more empath type of guy. Then they're the demanding, more narcissistic type of men, and those men don't really get cheated on, right? The women are too scared, to be honest. They're too imprinted. They may hate the guy after. I've definitely had that, but the concern has just not been that, right? It's been almost being overextending them, being too intense, too aggressive, just requiring too much and basically scaring them in some sense, right? Not being able to handle my anger, potentially, whatever it is. And those are real fears, and those are real issues that a lot of men, especially more masculine men, I'd say, have to deal with, right? Because they are naturally seeking power. They are control their environment, so it's hard not to want to control people. And it's not so bad to control people, the ones you don't care about, right? You get what you want from them. But for the one you care about most deeply, right? Love cannot breed and grow where there's fear, and fear is a natural symptom of controlling someone, right? So loyalty is not something I think a lot about, disloyalty, cheating, these types of things, but I hear about it a ton from women, I see it in comments from men and things like that, because they haven't learned kind of how to, it's not even assert, you can't demand loyalty, but you can assess it, you can be and do things in a way that, of course, nothing's 100%, but virtually makes you very safe. And this is something I think is a very touchy subject for all, because of course it deals with our deepest primal betrayal instinct, right? To have, as a man, to be a cuckold and take care of another man's seed is the biggest evolutionary betrayal, right? Other than not having children. And as a woman, the risk of a man fleeing off with another woman and taking away all resources, leaving you to fend for yourself, is a deep safety fear in a lot of ways. Social ostracization, ostracizing, let's just stick with that, right? Ostracization. Okay, maybe. Is that even a word? I don't care, because you understand what it means, don't you? If not, you're going to look it up and we're going to create our word. So cheating is a very painful thing. Really, at the core of it, cheating almost has the social institution of the word. Cheating implies that there are rules and you break the rules. In relations, the rules are unspoken, right? On average, it's not, you are not allowed on Tuesday to kiss this man. A lot of these things are expected to be understood. A lot of times it's projections where it comes to the nuance. I don't like a guy who even looks at a woman. I don't like a guy who likes a girl's picture. Someone will say, no, that's fine. It's friends and family. He knew her since this. And these rules aren't always explicated, right? And we expect these things, and a lot of times we're let down. So let's talk about this, okay? Because there's a lot of biological imperatives which shed light on this and why men cheat in the way they do, why women cheat in the way they do. I thought about potentially elucidating why women cheat, and I could make you all more self-aware of that so you can recognize those tendencies in yourself and catch yourself, not to necessarily stop yourself. I mean, of course, cheating is bad in every respect, but to potentially reflect deeper on, okay, I am feeling this drive because I'm not happy in this, right? But let's stick with the male side for this episode. Now, cheating, like I said, it implies these rules, which really a lot of times are this unspoken arrangement and agreement between two parties that is not always explicated. So let's first talk about, what upsets people about this a lot. Of course, the first argument is that this risk I talked about for a woman's safety and future provisioning, that's a deep risk, right? The second one can be jealousy, inadequacy. Am I not good enough? Was she better? Etc. The third version is the deeper version that stays with you existentially. Really, this is esteeming the self. Your self-esteem is questioning your own judgment. What signs did I miss? Can I even trust myself, right? Because that then paints gray all future stories, right? You start to worry whether you can trust your own judgment. And at the most low self-awareness level, whether you can trust men as a whole, right? It's not even let me take responsibility of myself and see where my gaps in intuition were, but let's just blame the whole species, right? Which of course makes you then potentially hide from them. You're still craving them, especially because you're in pain. If anything, you'd want more masculine support. And in this starved period, you end up with an even worse story, perpetuating potentially the very thing by talking about I was cheated on, these types of things. Like I say, when a woman reveals her trauma, etc., the lowest bar that she's tolerated in a man is what I would almost advise a man, don't go above and beyond that, because you have basically shown what you've been okay with. Now, of course, you can say I've grown, I've healed from that, but a man is not going to want to treat you better than what you've been willing to be treated as if it requires more investment from him, right? That has to be earned from him. He will have more leverage. That is the truth. So it's the equivalent of, honestly, if you walk into a bathroom and there's garbage everywhere, you're more likely to throw garbage on the ground, like a dirty street, etc. Whereas if it's ultra clean, you'll feel worse putting something there. That is the truth of human nature as well, okay? Just like money makes money, compound interest, poor people make even less money because they're begging for money, right? And it's a turnoff. So now, let's get back to this loyalty part. So there are these layers of how it can hurt, right? And most of the time, it's not a singular layer. It's the whole cake. It's the whole shebang. It can trigger inadequacy. It can trigger, am I stupid? Can I trust men, right? And then, of course, the primal betrayal of what do I do now, right? In the worst case, you're pregnant with his child, let's say, and you quit your job or whatever it is. Let's just do the worst case scenario. Your dad was paying for you and you completely blocked him and said, I want this guy, whatever it is, okay? That's obviously the furthest negative extent of it. Now, natural knee-jerk solutions, which do not work, and we're going to talk about it, is, I'll get married. That gives me insurance because then the government will ensure that I get half of this, etc. What does that do? That prevents masculine men from wanting you because marriage is a dead institution now. It has no relevance. We don't need the government in our bedrooms for our love stories. And cohabitation long-term in relationships, higher levels of reported satisfaction. You don't need a social taboo to prevent you from leaving a relationship that may be dissatisfying as well. And of course, women get access to half, if not more, of a man's resources while he doesn't get any say on whether you keep a child or not, etc. Or at least in some districts that happens, right? So it doesn't work because you're an interdependent relation. If you're planning on leaving a guy up front, of course marriage works in your favor, right? You get to take all the resources. But if you're planning on being in love, you need to also take into account what optimizes for him because that optimizes for you, okay? And not just him, but also for yourself. You don't need some government to say on paper, this means you're in love. How many people cheat in marriages? If anything, I'd say probably a higher rate than people who aren't, okay? Which ties to a more insidious point which occurs in the day-to-day, which is demanding a man be my boyfriend, right? Unfollow this girl. Do mothering in a incisive way. A man who complies with that, first of all, largely most men who get into relationships are doing it for consistent access to sex, okay? They don't actually like the women deeply, is the truth. Just like women are getting into relations or having sex with guys a lot of times, not because they are deeply, deeply turned on by this guy, etc., but because they got some attention, they got some resources, etc. Women trade off and do short-term things they don't want to do. Men do long-term things they don't want to do, but that's the best they can get. And so that means that is all they're worth at that moment if they're willing to exchange like that. So in this arrangement, demanding or requiring a man to escalate, hey, tell me that you're doing this, tell me that you're into me, these types of things. Yes, a compliant man, by definition, is probably doing that to keep access to you, but it is coming with the byproduct of resentment. Now, without even taking into account the male focus, let's look at you. Does it feel good to have to remind a man that you exist and that you are worthy of being loved? What is that actually doing? The second you point out and say, look at me, you're telling yourself, if I don't do this, no one's looking at me. They won't, right? And what that does in a longer term arrangement is it weakens the man, right? Now, his responsibility of being strong is on him, which I would say if I were a man. Did I just say if I were a man? That's what happens when you record at 6:20 a.m. You know what? If I were a man, Beyonce didn't sing that, and she's definitely having troubles in her relationship. But if I were me, okay, as me, if a woman tells me, hey, you have to make sure you're only loyal to me and stuff, I would tell her, don't ever tell me what to do. Okay, if anything, now I feel like meeting a new woman more. I'll be very direct with her so she knows not to talk like that. The reality is I don't really interact in a romantic way with women like that. If they do, I would feel blindsided, like my judgment was off, or if they do it really early on, I will just leave them, okay? That is the truth. Masculine men do not put up. It's almost like if you have to teach her something fundamental like that, you just leave. That is the truth as a masculine man. You don't be like, okay, we can teach you to do this. You can teach her different things, not something core like that, all right? So the point is you don't demand to a man that I require loyalty, etc. Loyalty is a response to liking someone enough. Now, can we argue that certain people are less loyal biologically? Yes, on average, men with higher testosterone are going to be more prone to being emotionally avoidant, and they're going to seek more novelty. Testosterone also links to dopaminergic receptors, right? They're going to seek new, okay? And on average, higher testosterone men will have more options for short-term mating with women because they're going to be more masculine, right? So it's a double whammy. I see a lot of people who are like, oh my God, Shakira got cheated on. Even pretty girls get cheated on. It doesn't make a difference. No, it does make a difference. Obviously, if you're more likable, you have a lower chance of being cheated on. The thing is, pretty women, on average, get better men, obviously, and better men have more options. So they think it doesn't make a difference. But yes, obviously, if you're less attractive and a more attractive woman comes by, that woman has the highest chance of getting cheated on. Obviously, it's easier. Makes no sense, right? So anyway, let's get into more details, though, because it's not just about looks. It's about respect. And once you bang a girl, no matter how pretty she is, the second after you bang her, she's no longer some new shiny item. So you really got to love the girl. You got to be loved in order for it to last, okay? So let's get to now this demanding of men, right? Like I've talked about in my other videos, men have to emotionally escalate the relationship. You cannot say, hey, we've been seeing each other for a while, or hey, so do you like me? Hey, are you seeing other girls? That is not your job to do, because emotions are what you're craving, emotional investment and fidelity and consistency from him, which is why to know if it's real, it has to come from him. That is the truth. Just like physicality, having sex with the man is green-lighted by you. Sure, he initiates it because he's the man, but you have to say yes, or it does not happen. In this version, the man has to escalate it for it to be real. You have to proactively attract it. Just like the man initiates sex, you have to proactively attract him wanting to say, I don't want you seeing anyone else. I'm not going to see anyone else. I want to only be with you. Okay? And he should be worried that you could still be on the market, etc., if he doesn't lock you in. Okay? Because you should be having escalating needs. As you get to know more about him, as you open up, you are trusting him to problem solve and take care of you. A man cannot be emotionally escalating like that unless he's literally committing in action more time into you and resources. So you're getting commitment in a realistic way versus a man on the first day who could say, and I've heard this from a lot of women, a man cheats or a man up front says, I want to marry you. I can say that right now. I want you to meet my family. I don't even know who you are listening on the other side. I don't want you to meet my family. I don't even know you. You understand? But I can lie. See? Haha, look at that. And women do fall for words, especially when they're emotionally starved. And if it gets a man sex with a woman he doesn't care about, why would he not do that? We could argue at a deeper level if he creates a habituation of lying, then it's harder to not do it for the right woman. But in a short-term interaction, most men, especially men who are going to be predators relative to prey, they're going to be takers. Yes, if they think, I can get $1,000 from this person and I can walk away, why would they not do that, right? On average, most men. Of course, deeper men who already are not sexually starved will have integrity, and they'll see it as part of a whole holistic system that in doing this, it is lack of integrity and that is not my character long term, 100%. I'm talking about most men, all right? And honestly, I'm a high integrity guy. If someone told me, hey, if you tell this girl your favorite color is blue, which it's not, you're going to get sex with her, I am going to say my favorite color is blue to have sex with her if I'm sure I'm not into her. I don't give a fuck. Okay, because that lie is not going to destroy my whole philosophy in my brain. I don't care. That's the truth, okay? So if that's me, I'm like, yeah, men are going to lie about a lot more. That's the truth, okay? Men lie by peacocking and exaggeration. Women lie by withholding, right? And reduction. Like, oh, I only slept with this. I actually never go out. They'll do all that bullshit. Men will lie and be like, oh, yeah, I have this much money. Yeah, I met the president the other week. Like all this stuff. And he was taking a photo outside of the White House gates. Okay? So the point being that you cannot demand, men have to emotionally escalate loyalty so you know that it's real and so that he is putting in the work to possess or claim your loyalty to him is the truth, okay? So that's very important, especially in the courting phase. You have to let the man escalate. You cannot bring that up. You can ask him about his vision and his plans. How do you see your life romantically? If anything, take yourself out of the equation. Let him fill you in. Let him put you into the equation. Well, I want to have a house where we would do. Let him say that versus being like, well, where do you see us? Who are you? Find out whether you're someone to him by shutting up and not filling in and giving him the blueprint. Like women who say, what are you looking for? What am I going to say? I want to fuck you and never talk to you again? What? Why do you ask men that? You're leading the witness. You don't do that. That doesn't mean you lie and say the opposite of like, well, obviously we should just have sex because, we're animals and sometimes you just got to have fun. Okay, you don't lead the witness like that and lie about your values, but you got to suss out what's real. You got to be like, hey, do you think romance is important to men, especially when they're building, or do you think it's important for them to first establish themselves? Because you're a young guy. Like, how do you view the next few years of your life? It seems like you're really in a good position in your career. is that going to motivate him to be like lying about, no, my whole life is about women? You'll see the truth. If you ask him something like that, a lot of men will just be like, yeah, I'm not really thinking about chicks. Okay, then, and you're there with him. That's a nuke. I always say, if a man says something negative to you, it's the truth. Be assured, okay? It's not, no, he was angry, he was this. If he says good things, take it with caution. We don't necessarily know unless the actions back it. If he says something negative, it is 100% true. Believe me, that's how he feels about you. I'm telling you, okay? Because men are less verbal too, so if it slips out verbally, you can almost say his actions in heat. Maybe he pushes a wall or something like that. He closes the door too hard because he's in a rash state or something. That may not be indicative. It's almost like the same thing of like, when a woman says something rude to me in my comments, I'm not processing, oh, that's a woman. She's like a daughter. She's been through trauma and empath. I don't give a shit. I just see pixels on a screen. I'm like, I want to destroy her. I don't think it's a her in my brain. That's what happens. It's a reaction, right? That's my action, okay? But verbally, if I was with that woman and I'm like, yeah, I think your midriff is a little too excessive. Even if later I was like, nah, I was drinking. It was just because your shirt was a little, trust me, I'm thinking that her midriff is huge, way bigger than probably what I even said. All right. So I'm like, a lot of you who I've seen from men telling these women, they tell me straight up things like, I'm not in a place to date you right now. I can't make you happy, all this type of stuff. Now, I think they're being polite when they say the second version, etc. But that means they don't like you. Okay, whether you can get them to like you more, but it's not, oh, but he comes over my place and helps me build this furniture. He checks in and says, did you eat today? If he tells you he's not into you, the probability that the only exception is kind of the vampire lore, right? From the start, he keeps you at arm's length and he's like, I don't want you to have to deal with my darker parts. But he still keeps investing. Was Edward able to resist Bella? No. He had to come back. So that's my point. I do that with women, right? With a woman I like. With women I don't like, who I think are hot enough, all I want to do is sleep with them. That's it. With women who I like, I want to keep them at arm's length. That's the truth. Because I'm scared once they see the real truth, they see my darkness and all this intensity, they'll turn away. I want them to show me that it's worth revealing that, but I won't be like, and because of that, I'm going to block you. Like some dramatic bullshit. Maybe in college when I was trying to play up some bullshit lore or something like that, but that's not what men do. Men don't perform like that in that case. They do peacock and all this stuff, but they won't perform a psychological role play like women do to try to draw in a man, playing the damsel in distress or all these types of things, playing bratty to see if a man will actually stand up for himself. They do all these tests. Men don't test like that. Men test almost in the receipt. They get the data and then say, oh crap, what the hell is this? Women test proactively of like, oh, well, I want to see if he does this type of thing. Which is why the tests you do for men should be natural extensions of your needs, not contrived tests, okay? But that is the only exception, right? A man protecting you from himself while still pursuing you. That is the point. But if a man says, I can't be with you because of my family, because of this, stop being like, I'm going to convert him. If you want to convert him, then at least acknowledge you're going to convert him, meaning you're going to get him to like you. Do not tell yourself, no, he actually likes me. He's just scared of his emotions. He doesn't fucking like you, okay? He would not say that to his favorite model or favorite celebrity chick up front. Be assured he would not, okay? So stop making excuses for yourself and subsidizing. It's like you are loving yourself and you're playing his role to love yourself because you're just so starved of love that you got to step into his shoes and be like, no, he does love me, right? Okay, I'm going to be here. Now let me play myself. Yeah, so he loves me, but he's actually scared. No. If you have to do all these acrobats and stuff, trust me, he doesn't like you. That's the truth, okay? So you first got to be willing to acknowledge that. And obviously, the deeper way to do this is not by reading how men work and all this stuff. Look at your emotions. There is good anxiety and bad anxiety. Do you think it feels good to play the story of how a man is supposed to feel but is not actually acting as and finding 50 explanations of what he might be doing secretly? No, okay? That's not the case. And most of y'all are dating dumb dudes, so they don't even have the intelligence to even manipulate in that way if they wanted to. Okay, so anyway, the point being that man has to escalate the emotions. You understand? The emotional commitment has to escalate from the man. All right, that's very important. It's very key. I know a lot of you don't, and a lot of you slip up and do it, and then you say, oh, I did that, though. I did that 3 months ago, and now we're in a relationship. Get out of the relationship. Tell him, I am sorry for doing that, right? It was a mistake, and I feel like it was a mistake not because I don't like you. I'm actually obsessed with you, and I think I pushed too hard without giving space for us to naturally blossom. And I feel like I respect your freedom, and I've just appreciated the time we've had together, etc. And I want to keep getting to know you. Give him freedom and see if he chooses you. That is the truth, okay? And now the truth is, yes, like I said, a real man won't put up with all this bullshit. He won't listen to you, and he'll honestly just drop a girl who tries to control him with that bullshit. But most of you are not with masculine men because you're not deeply feminine. But some of you, the exceptions who are listening who are feminine, this should be resonating, right? Do not reach out. Do not control. Do not mother a man, okay? It's not going to make you feel good in the receipt. So that's very important. Now, let's talk about some of the reasons. Let's talk about some of the outliers of why men cheat, meaning celebrity men and stuff. Why do they a lot of times cheat on their hot women that they're dating with some fat loser, ugly chick? Because that chick is nice to them, is a groupie, is showing respect, right? Think about even the biggest loser guy who plays video games. A lot of women tolerate their dudes playing video games every day. I find that extremely embarrassing. Life is a game. They should be playing that. It's one thing to blow off steam once in a while with boys, but you know what I'm talking about. They're guys who really play games. And I'm like, you're a grown-ass man. It's embarrassing once you're past, I don't even know, middle school probably. So once you can have sex with women, how are you playing video games? It's weird. Okay, it's odd, whatever it is. I mean, digitally bonding with your boys while you guys talk, okay, maybe, yes. But I'm like, do something in real life. I don't know. I just think if it's not translating to real life, if it's training so that you can then go hunt, it's one thing. If you're building a community because it's helping you practice, fine. But I'm like, if it doesn't translate to real life, like imagine I talk about all of this and then I don't bang some of my followers. What's the point of the whole thing? I bang a lot of them. I don't give a shit. It's amazing. Whatever. So the point being that even that type of deep loser, if he starts bonding with some woman in what are the games that people play, Roblox or some crap like that, whatever it is, he starts chatting with a woman in that and he feels some bonding with her, he could cheat that way. And emotional cheating is worse than physical cheating for a man. Some women say, oh, my stomach churns when I imagine him putting it inside someone else. What? That churns more than him taking another woman to meet his mom or texting her being like, I wish you were the one who was here. You're the only one whose voice I like. That is way worse. As you just don't understand men then. Men can have sex and not give a fuck. You've experienced it because you've been ghosted if you're on the wrong side of history, right? So please, this isn't to say tolerate physical cheating. I'm just saying what the real negative on the negative side is emotional cheating means it's done. But on the positive side, it means emotional commitment is what you should be targeting for. That is the point. His dick follows his heart. You have to understand that, which then ties to this other point. In this video game example, why is he going with that girl? It's because she's taking an interest in his passion. That is the truth. She's showing up where he is, and she's showing some respect for it. So a lot of women in relationships, they don't show respect for the man and what he does for her. Right? This could be something as little as, thank you, babe, for paying for the groceries this week. Little things that you may take for granted. That's a man's role, etc. Okay, it's your role to support your man, right? Emotionally. That's supposed to be your strong suit. That shouldn't even feel like work, is the truth. But instead, a lot of you women are like, well, he's got to take the garbage out. He's got to do dishes at least this when he's paying all the bills. Now, a lot of you are in situations where you're also working because you're not feminine enough. And then you require men to do all these things. Yeah, okay, you guys are both just androgynous losers. That's fine. You guys can do everything together. They've shown those couples who have exact parity are less happy. So enjoy being gender amorphous. It's terrible for you. Because deep down, you just want to feel like a little girl who's taken care of, okay? And you want to feel like a maternal influence who can actually influence your man to reach his full potential. That's the truth. So watch my prior videos about all the archetypes and how you can embody the mother, daughter, lover, and sister, and even bonus grandmother. I threw in a quick one for y'all, for all y'all old souls. So you have to show respect for a man's passions. If you don't respect his passions, do not be with that man. That is true. Because a real man, his passion becomes his purpose, becomes his profession. It's all linked. It's not like, yeah, I work hard and I play hard. Hello. It's one and the same for an integrated man. So you have to show respect for that. That does not imply, babe, can you teach me how to use Excel and do a VLOOKUP? You don't have to do his work, but you have to be like, hey, what are you working on, right? Does it excite you? Is this different from what you were doing last year? You have to show that, right? That's going to make him bond with you because then you were co-bonding to help him breathe. He's feeling inspired. He's feeling like the work he's doing is important. Again, this is only if you respect the work he's doing. If it's like, oh, he makes the bills and I don't even ask about it, and that makes me super feminine that I don't even have to think about it. No, you're not teammates then. That's weird. I see women who are like, I don't even know how much he makes. I don't know what he actually does. I'm like, what? What the hell relation? So you're just a sugar baby. That's fine. That's still healthier than being a sugar mama. So whatever, fine. But I'm like, that's not love. The truth is love is an exclusive privilege for very few. It's like a select club that the majority of people will never make it into. You got to have your life together to earn love, to earn your destiny. That is the truth. So that is one reason why men cheat. Okay. So actually we've covered a few so far, right? Being almost succumbed into it. Now, again, it's still his responsibility to say no, but because a lot of you are not hyper feminine, you're with these non-hyper masculine guys, so they won't stand up for themselves. They'll go into a relation and be like, you know what, she's all right, and I don't have any other girl. I'm willing to not be on Hinge. It's fine. I'll be with her for a bit, and if something pops up, I'll see, etc. She's not going to find out anyway. I'll be on a business trip, whatever it is. I spend a lot of time at work anyway, and she's doing her own thing because she goes to the clubs because she's not feminine either. So we're just all free, and she has guy friends, and I have girlfriends. Another thing, a guy who has girlfriends at all, at any point in his life, beyond basically before his balls dropped, beyond before his ball drops, meaning beyond his balls dropping, is more prone to cheating. That is the truth, because he is a snake who basically couldn't pull these women and secretly wants to if his dick works. Men will sleep with women they don't even like if they think they're pretty. He likes their personalities too, and he isn't banging them. Oh, because they're childhood friends. Oh, so his dick doesn't work. Things change from childhood. We believe in Santa when we're children, and now we don't. Okay? Things change, all right? Santa's real. St. Nicholas is real, guys. Just got to burst your bubble. It's real. All the lies are actually truths. So, yeah, guys who have girlfriends are snakes. They're pussies, all right? The guy makes a lot of promises to you up front about travel and where all you want to go, more prone to cheating. Now, the funny thing is a lot of these men have less capability to cheat because they're not as attractive to the female sex. But they're more willing to cheat because they're love bombing. If they love bomb you, they're love bombing a ton of women. That is the truth. So a lot of you like it's disgusting to me. A lot of you talk to me about, he used to say good morning all the time. Now he doesn't. What? You're not in a relationship and you like when a guy says good morning to you all the time? Why? Wake yourself up. Like, you're not in a relationship and dating, you're requiring him to text you good morning with a meme? What are you guys, what kind of weird digital fake love stories are you guys? It's weird. Who gives a fuck about that is the point. What if he texts you good morning every day and he never plans a date? Or the guy who plans a date and is very masculine, takes care of you, and never says good morning for the first few months. Who cares? Who cares is the point. Out of the two, you want both, great, but it's insane to me. And then you set yourself up to feel the loss over something stupid. He doesn't say good morning anymore. That was already stupid. And then you're feeling the loss of a stupid thing. Oh, this guy used to slap me every day. Now I miss him slapping me. Like, what are you doing? Makes no sense. So where it comes to this whole loyalty part, I'm saying that love bombers, guys with girlfriends, all this type of stuff, over-promising, under-delivering, inconsistency, these things are higher chance of cheating. Now, let's talk about history. A woman who's cheated in her past, I would say if you're a man listening to this, never take her seriously. She's just sex material. That's the truth. Sorry. She is more prone to cheating again. It's not worth the risk. I don't care. It's a black mark on you for life. I don't know what to say. Okay, now we could argue, oh wait, what about men? Now I'll say if a woman emotionally cheats, meaning she posted a picture to get attention while she was in a relationship because she was feeling badly, still a massive negative. I would say for the highest men, drop that chick. But for most men, okay, if she's learned from that, etc., that's possible. If she's physically cheated while in a relationship, that chick she doesn't deserve a masculine man. She can get a relationship with a loser. That's fine. Like the majority of women are in anyway. Just like if a man emotionally cheated, that dude is not worth dating. That is what I'm saying. That is the point, because that means he took his future provisioning that he was tying to one woman and he became a future-oriented risk for her. If he physically cheated, still a massive negative. I'd say for the highest woman, don't deal with that dude. That's the truth. But he can overcome that, meaning loyalty for you, because men are less physically loyal. It's easier for them to sleep with a new person than it is for a woman. If a woman sleeps with a new guy, she is done with the relation. If a man bangs a random prostitute in Bangkok, he can still be very into his girl. That's the truth. Unfortunately, I would not call that the deepest love. All I'm saying is women would rather choose that guy than a loser who's super loyal to them and just works in a fast food restaurant and sleeps at home every day. That is the truth out of the two. Your goal is not to have either. It's to have the best version, but I'm saying what is more important? It is the quality of the man and his loyalty. That is the truth. But first, it's the quality of the man. It's a little bit of disloyalty and micro cheating, as they call it, is tolerated with higher quality men, is the truth. Women are used to being sister wives, I would almost say, across the animal species. That's what occurs, is the truth. Honestly, even when I find my woman, I don't think she'd be so opposed to the average threesome here and there for a woman she chooses, because women are naturally bi, and I would not force it. So long as she's taking care of me sexually, then we'll be fine. But I'm just saying, I don't think that's such a huge thing for women as long as they're involved. But for men, I'm imagining a threesome with another dude with your woman. Like, she's done with you then. Like, good one. So anyway, so that's okay. The sun is rising, which is beautiful. The sun is rising, just like the loyalty is rising with his with his heart being filled with true love for you. So these are some of the warning signs, etc. Now, you want to be involved and passionate and understanding about his passions, right? Because that's also tied to whether you're going to be taken care of. If he's passionate about something stupid, honestly, that's still, at least he's got drive. I'd rather have that than a man in a high-paying job who hates his job, okay? Because that guy is not a problem solver. Why is he in that, right? But if a man's passionate over the long term and not able to provide, that's actually a bigger loser than the guy who's bored of his high-paying job. But I'm saying if you find a passionate man for a job and he's ambitious, that man is a better bet. He has a better chance of becoming an entrepreneur and all that type of stuff, because passion makes you work harder, is the truth. And then you can outwork others as long as he has basic intelligence to keep learning, right? So it makes work not feel like work, like this, right? It's 6:44 a.m. and this is the 5th episode I've recorded. That's an hour long. It's just 5 in a row I've been recording because I'm passionate. I'm excited about putting out my knowledge for you all, right? I want to connect. So that can be one case, which is the forcing loyalty. The girls who have friends, the more feminine type of guy who you would think is more loyal because he love bombs and all this stuff. He's such a romantic. That guy can be more skeezy if it looks like something that's transferable to a lot of different women, right? Non-customized compliments, etc. And we also did the version where if he's negative to you, says he's not ready for a relationship, trust me, he wouldn't say that to some type of woman. But I'm saying if he's willing to lie even about that truth to push you away, he's definitely not into you. But I'm like, he's not super masculine, right? The real truth is I don't want a relationship with you is what he's really saying, okay? If he met his favorite, again, model, he would not the first thing saying to her be like, oh yeah, I'm not really looking for a relationship right now. It may not end up in that. It's not like looks determine everything, but to start the engine, he would not close off that path. Just like women, if they were like, oh, I'm completely celibate, there's some guy that would be like, okay, but you never know what could happen with us. Maybe, I'm not saying first date, but eventually. So I'm just saying there's openings either way if you're truly a winner in this life, which is all I relate to. So these are some of the reasons that people can be disloyal. Now, a lot of people like to say disloyalty is a characteristic in a person. He's just not a loyal person. I get it hurts a lot, so you want to self-soothe by saying that's just who he is. He'll do that with every woman. No, he's loyal to his job. A lot of times they show up every day for work. He wasn't that with you because he didn't like you enough. Now, this does not imply that is not blameworthy in him and that he failed in that respect, but you have to acknowledge the reality that it's obvious, right? Let's just put it this way. If a man yells at you every day, do you like him more or less? Are you more motivated to cook him a nice meal? Less motivated. If he's nice to you every day, are you more motivated if he gets you a nice day at the sauna or the spa? Is it not more motivating to you to make his favorite dessert? Obviously, it's more motivating. So again, there's no like arbitrary black line about cheating is not allowed though. These are all gradients of our emotions and expressions of it. No one's saying it's good, it's bad, it's unacceptable. My point is that if you behave poorly, it is more likely he will cheat. That is your responsibility and accountability. It means you were wrong and he was wrong. It justifies him doing that, but there is cause and effect. That is my point, okay? There's a cause and an effect. So why would you increase the cause is my point. And we're talking to you about what you can do. You can't control the final result of whether he does that or not, of course, but you can make yourself pretty goddamn safe about it is my point. So if you don't do a lot of these things, I said the negative stuff, you're already increasing your chance 100-fold because the majority of women do this bullshit, right? And that's just going to make a man be like, oh yeah, if I can sneak on the side, I will. A lot of men don't end up cheating because they're just average men. They're not getting 100 women showing up at their door. If you truly want the real masculine man, you'd want to feel like if 100 women showed up at his door willing to sleep with him, he'd say no. Without just saying that, he'd say no to you, that he'll say that to you. I mean, in real action. So you do want a man who has access, right? Because a man who has access, as they say in Bridgerton, a converted rake, being like a fuckboy, a playboy, makes the best of husbands, because that means he had access to tons of women and chose you, versus the male virgin who's choosing you to sleep with you, right? So you don't want the good boy. You want a good man who is the bad boy in terms of being able to short-term mate. You want the player, is the truth. Women will say they don't. Ask them the last 5 people they slept with or the last guy they slept with. It's not the nice guy. So I'm like, as a man, who do you want to be? You want to be the guy who she said you're a sweet guy, or the guy who got his dick wet? Like, please, are you joking here? It's absolutely delusional. Okay, it's also what you want. That's why you're going for those guys. But you need the good guy who's a good man, not a good boy. You need a good man who's a bad boy in the world. That's the truth, okay? So loyalty is an expression. It's a response. It's not just a characteristic. And loyalty is harder to get from men who have more access and men who are higher testosterone. This is reality, okay? This is reality. Men who are lower testosterone are more likely to lie to women they even like because they want to keep consistent access to sex. So they are more snaky, but they may cheat less because they get less women. You understand that? So more masculine men will lie less. They will emotionally placate less. They will, with pride, manipulate and lie for women they don't care about. So this is all under the assumption that they already care about you. Whether you can judge that or not, you have to watch my other videos on how to assess that a man's into you and what to test for and what to require of him. Okay? So loyalty is a far more amorphous gradient than people think, okay? It is earned consistently. It is not just a characteristics. This is a loyal man. There are women I would be loyal to. There are women I would not feel guilt cheating on relative to others. There would still be some skill because I don't cheat because I consider that weakness. I'm like, what am I scared of this woman? I'll tell her directly, I'm going to fuck someone else because you're being a piece of shit. I don't give a shit. I wouldn't even be with that woman. Or I'd keep her for I don't care. I'm very direct, but it takes a lot to get to. It's because I have consistent access to sex that I'm like, even if I lose her, I can still get women. If I didn't feel that, I'd be like, fuck, I don't want to lose her. Which is the majority of men. Majority of men are scared of women in that way. They're scared of, which is why you think that the guy who doesn't have sex is the safe guy, right? The sexually disciplined man. You go see what he does with you. Your sexually disciplined love bomber is the one cheating on you the most. I don't have to cheat because I'm not a pussy. That's the difference, okay? So you have to understand male biology to get this. And it should feel intuitive. You shouldn't need a science lesson on these very basic things. Like, have you not heard of a story of a man sleeping with a woman and just leaving? Have you not heard of that? That's obvious. It's very normal. It does not happen the same for women. Obviously, you have different biology. You can't sleep with hundreds of people like I can and it not affect you extremely negatively. It affects me positively. Why else am I able to do all this with a ton of energy? It's fine. We don't have to make this about me, but there's a reason why I have a lot of energy, optimism. Don't drink. Don't do substances. I don't do video games. In shape. Smarter than all the dudes you're dating. Like, why is that occurring? It's because I'm getting what I want. And to do that, it's because my brain's working. So don't poo on a man and then be like, I don't like when he's sexual with other women, but I want him to be sexual with me. No, men are sexual by nature up front. They're more casually sexual. Women enjoy sex more than men because they have more nerve endings. They bond with oxytocin in a way men can't. So women enjoy sex in depth more. You can literally experience more pleasure, have multiple O's. Men can't, okay? But it's got to be earned by the man or you won't experience that. If you just sleep with a hot guy, sure, for a one-night stand out of the two, yes, the higher testosterone man will cause more pleasure for short-term mating. But you're not optimizing for short-term mating because that won't make you happy. You'll just become a single mom. That's a very stressful life. So your goal, and then you got to find a guy after who then is okay with another man's seed. It just lowers the whole bar. My point is, you want the man who directs his testosterone into you. That is the truth, okay? And to do that, you have to have a high watermark of what titillates you, okay? So you can have very enjoyable sex. You've never had good sex is my point, unless you're in love right now, which there are definitely women listening to me right now who are probably in great relationships, and I'm very happy for you. That's good. And you can hopefully learn these things to help optimize the relation. This isn't like, oh, my man wouldn't cheat on me. This isn't just about not cheating. This is about understanding the underlying things which cause people to like people less, men specifically, right? And really, this isn't like, oh, so we got to do all this for men. If you're not feeling like doing these things, you are not in your feminine, because these should feel like natural things. How are you with the man if you're not intrigued and curious and supportive about what he does? That's got to be anxiety for you, because then you don't know what he's doing with his life, right? You'll always see that in fiction, right? The like mob wives and gangster wives and stuff like that. They have no clue what the man does. Some people think that's a cool thing. Oh yeah, we keep it separate because he's the man, etc. He goes out and does. They're always paranoid about what the man is doing. There's always volatility, and he's not getting support from her. This is different from we start the business together and we're co-operators and stuff. No, that'll masculinize you and he'll treat you like a bro. This is the equivalent of going to a bar for a first date. I'm going to meet his friends and stuff. Are you a dude? Then you're just fuckable. Okay, you're not dateable. Ew. I hate women who like go to baseball games and stuff like that. I'm like, are you a man? You got to see men throw balls around like pretending you're a dude drinking beers. Like, it's so disgusting when I see that crap. I'm like, you're not a woman. Just go be a man. Chop your hair off, become bald, just go be a man. It's fine. But women in sports, watching sports, to see some male aggression maybe, but I'm like, women who go to sports game, like, you're dunzo. You're dunzo, okay? This is like the equivalent of a dude braiding doll's hair or something. It's weird. It's very weird. So the point being is to prevent, it's not even preventing cheating. It's not about preventing cheating. It's about deepening loyalty. And to do that, you have to be deeply likable. And it's not just deeply likable. You have to go through these seasons of love in the proper cadence with him escalating, filling your needs. I have an episode, I think it's episode 6, about the seasons of love and how it works. You should watch that. It's very important so that you don't feel whiplash and think, oh my God, is this cheating? Is this, is this, that, right? Now, think of the local example, a man following women. I think it is important to look at who a man follows in this digital age. This is the reality of how we express ourselves, right? If a man is following tons of OnlyFans models who don't even know he exists, right? That man is not getting enough sex in his life. That is the truth. I follow 0 women because I'm like, I'm not a follower. I'm a leader, okay? And I'm here to teach and things like that. And what am I just going to scroll to see pictures of booties that are probably filtered? It makes no sense to me, all right? Unless it's my woman or family or something. I just don't do it. So I know I follow some females who are artists, but I'm following their art. It's just pictures of paintings and things like that. It's not them like shirtless or something like that. So I'm just like, yeah, I would look at his following for sure, but I would almost be more paranoid about who is following him and he follows back, because that implies some type of emotion, right? Men, as they say, are salesmen, so men pursue. Men will like a lot of pictures of hot women. Sometimes I see a random bikini picture. I'm just like, because I would bang them. I would never take them seriously, but I don't give a fuck. I'll do random hearts. I don't give a shit. Like men watching your stories, it means something. I click on so many stories without even looking at it. I'm a little bit more crazy. I do it purposely so the woman feels like, oh, he watched my story, almost as the opposite of how I feel. I do lots of experiments and things like that. I'm in this space. I got to do some crazy stuff. Whatever the point. Okay, I'm a psychopath. You don't have to date me. It's fine. I don't really care. I'm a sociopath. All right, sociopaths are formed. Psychopaths are maybe born that way. I don't know if I think I'm more sociopath. Functional sociopath. Empathetic sociopath through trauma. It's fine. It's fine. It works for me. I don't have a choice, guys. I need love to cure myself. So, point is, if you're not showing this respect for a man, men crave respect more than appreciation, more than being cherished, more than being understood. They need respect. If a man says, I don't want you wearing that, and you wear it, higher chance he's not into you. He's going to lose interest in you, right? And if you don't want to be told, if you think that's controlling, don't be with that man. That is the point. I see women sometimes complain about their men. Never complain about your man. Do not complain about your man. Have feedback about him. Be curious about him. Seek to understand him. You'll have differences. You'll have disagreements. Do not complain in a public forum about him. Do you know how embarrassing that is for him? And for you, that you're with the man that you're willing to poo on. I see it all the time. I've met couples while I'm on my random travels. Woman's trying to flirt with me while her husband's right there being like, well, if this potbelly's willing to drive us home. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Stop talking about him like that. I'll bang you in front of him. That is the truth. I mean, not literally. That's not what I'm thinking. I don't even care about them. But my point is just seeing this type of disrespect. And the man takes it because usually a man who takes that is the weaker type of man in general, right? So you got to show respect, but you don't force respect. You have to show respect to the men you respect. You should be classy and feminine, and you can be vulnerable with random strangers. You open up. That's just being a woman. You're willing to share about your stories and stuff like that. That's like me randomly physicality. Yeah, I can meet a strange woman who's even in a relationship and say she's hot. I don't give a shit, right? If I think the man is weak, I really don't care. But I'm not willing to. Your version was, what is it? The physicality. What was I saying? Jeez. No, I got distracted by the whole like in a couple type thing. I'm like, if I respect the relationship, then I leave it alone. If I think he's a weak man, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try to fuck her. If I see her posting like pictures, showy pictures while she's in a relationship, I'm like, yeah, she's just single to me. I don't even give a fuck, right? But no, I was saying, the liking, following type of stuff, the disrespect. And I'm like, you cannot, men especially, shaming their social image and their status, which they're trying to build. It just makes no sense. Don't be with the man you respect, yes, but be classy and feminine in general. Just like I can be physical randomly, but I don't appreciate every woman. If a woman's rude to me on my platform and stuff like that, I'm not like, oh my God, that's a woman. How can you argue with them? I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck off my page. I could give a fuck. It's honestly teaching them a lesson about how real men, because men tolerate a lot of how these women bicker and shit. They don't tell them to shut the fuck up. I'm willing to do that. I don't care. And then I restrict them so they can't keep commenting. But honestly, women have gone too far out of their element with not learning a little discipline, which is why a lot of times their kids, when they don't have a man in the household, are complete brats. All right. You need a man, and your fathers, a lot of them, weren't strong enough to put you in your place and to remind you. It's not, shouldn't have to put you in your place. They should just be masculine enough that you're naturally contained. But a lot of you didn't have that, so now you're crazy masculine brats. And, it's not even worth putting in your place. Just go be a mess, but away from my platform. You don't come on my platform and be a poison for other innocent women who are looking at the content. Go make videos about me of how I'm a loser. I don't give a shit about that. Do all of that. Don't come into my page and do that shit. Anyway, I will be disloyal to you. I won't even be loyal to you. I'll bang girls in front of you, and I'll bring them all to my mom, and you can watch from the bleachers like Taylor Swift. I mean, who wants to bang her either? But I guess that Travis loser is. So it's fine. It's fine. People find their arrangements. It's all good. What I'm saying is your goal is to be likable. It is to check his history bit. And again, for this following thing, men naturally pursue, so the liking's not as bad. Whereas for a woman, women receive. So I'm like, if I saw a woman with random male followers, that's worse than her following a dude who, again, the joint version is the worst, obviously. But who a woman follows is almost more important, right, than who a man follows, because he's just pursuing shooting out his seat. I still think you should judge him from that, and you should look at it. But I would be more concerned about who's following the man, because women don't randomly follow men, right? I have 400,000 female followers because I'm giving them advice, obviously, right? I haven't chosen them or drawn them in specifically like, oh, this girl, I've talked to her for 3 months. I'm just giving random advice. All my followers are random to me. I don't know any of them. That's the truth. I mean, I banged some of them, and they're nice, obviously. A lot of them, it's not like I don't like them. Obviously, I do. I want to help them. But I know inside there are pockets of losers, though, and hopefully some of these videos get rid of them because they get triggered. But the point is, yeah, so if you want to look at the following, I would do that. But I wouldn't be doing the thing of tracking who updates. Oh, he improved his following by 1. Now he decreased it by 1. Check his actions with you. It's more important. I'm talking about the initial assessment. Like you Google him, you check his following, you check what he does. I would do that as an initial thing. I hate the women who are like, I don't Google him because I want it to be authentic and organic. They say that sometimes when I ask them for their Myers-Briggs type. Don't you just want to get to know me naturally? Yeah, you idiot. If you speak French and I speak German, I want to know that in advance so I can talk to you better. It's a framing system. It's not me learning every part of you. It's a better way to understand you. And it's not like Zodiac. There's biochemistry if I know that you're an extrovert versus an introvert. It makes a difference. All right, Jesus. So yeah, you should Google your men, especially in the internet age. Why would you not? That's crazy to not. They used to have those stupid sites like, are we dating the same guy? And it's just a bunch of pissed off, bitter women who couldn't pull the guy, right? They even had that stupid T app. And actually, if you go into it, I've seen it because I've been on it many times. Women have told me that. I don't give a fuck, yeah, because I fuck so many girls. I could give a shit. What are they actually doing? When you look at the men who get the most complaints, it's always the more well-to-do, put-together dude who looks better, has a good job, etc. And it's like 27 complaints. Yeah, none of you could pull that guy. That's the point. And then the uglier dudes who have no poor job and are broke and stuff have like 1 complaint. Like, it's just a bitter women app. So that's not the way to do it. That doesn't mean you don't want to share intelligence with women. about men, but you don't want it from bitter women who just couldn't pull the guy because they're obviously biased against it. Okay, it doesn't make sense. You want to look at, it's almost like negative reviews of a restaurant. Do people, if you don't see any positive reviews, that doesn't actually mean the place is just crap. In general, people don't, when they enjoy a place, they don't go and write, oh my God, I love this. But when people hate something, they want to protest and do all this crap, right? So you got to take into account those biases. And I mean, the way you take into account that bias is by making sure that there is some positive fidelity, right? So almost like with exes, if you see a woman who says nothing negative about herself in relation to, he was a narcissist, I'm like, she's definitely a narcissist. That's the truth. The first thing you think about when you think about a past failed relation is what went wrong with you, because you made the mistake of choosing this person. You can't control someone else. So it should be like, I was an idiot for choosing this person because I didn't have enough of this in my life. I wasn't focused on this. It should be zero of, he was such a gaslighter, he has problems in his family. Then what does that make you? A clown who was blind? No, but he switched up 3 months later. You're an idiot then. No, he didn't. You just couldn't judge it early on. You weren't patient enough to require enough from him. No, I want accountability here. Okay. It frees you. It makes you a lot happier in life. It makes you in a place where you're not going to be scared of getting cheated on. Like, I don't even think about that shit. All right. So, and then people will be like, well, that's the guy who gets cheated on. Okay. Why don't you talk to the women who I've dated in the past who still message here and there? Because they just want a piece of the kingdom. You're not going to get it. So whatever. The point is, you got to trust the actions. If a guy's truly living a double life and cheating on you on the side, if you truly don't find out, it's not possible is the truth, okay? Because his time investment will go down on you. And as your needs increase, he won't be able to live that double life. That's the truth. It can all come down to good judgment, and you can predict the majority of life. Yes, sometimes lightning strikes. Sometimes he's a double agent. Sometimes he's as manipulative as me. Fortunately, I'm on the good side. That's why I'm helping you all. Because if I helped men, you guys, a lot of the people listening who are not in their most feminine things, you guys would be shrewd. You'd be seduced left and right by dudes who probably don't even deserve it, is the truth, because they would just mirror the king. So my point is, you can't be sure about these things, but you can be in a way that can help you feel a lot calmer. It can help you feel the good anxiety, which is, what am I going to make for him today? Maybe I'm going to create some art. Oh, maybe we're going to talk about our next trip that he's planning, etc. This is the type of stuff. It doesn't mean you do nothing with the planning. Yeah, you can do some things about what sandwiches you're bringing. Okay, you can decorate a bit. But honestly, don't you feel good when a man plans? Oh, but men don't plan. Not for you, because you say things like that. Stop complaining. Remember, I told you that. Be happy. Yeah, it's easier said than done. I get it. But integrating these things, watch my other videos on how to tap into your feminine essence, into your divine feminine energy. Yeah. You want to get a view of the sunrise? Let's see if we can get you some of that. Look at that. Isn't that nice, right? The sun never cheats. Every day that fuck ass comes up. Just like my D every morning. All right, I'm starting to lose my mind a bit. You know, this is the 5th episode. I've been recording for 6 hours straight. But yeah, I want you all to feel safe because you all thrive when you feel safe. And part of the job is not just a man has to make you feel safe. You have to feel safe with yourself. You have to feel like you're worthy of love and loyalty. You have to feel like you're good enough. And the two different paths, one version is I'll be a challenge, I'll be kind of absent. And that keeps a man loyal with me because he's always chasing me. But it comes with resentment once things get calm. If anything, he'll be addicted to the volatility. The other version is, oh, if I'm a pushover and I just do everything he says, he'll feel like he can get away with anything. You're forgetting the third option. If he loves you, he's not going to not cheat out of fear. A man shouldn't not cheat because it's going to hurt his girl's feelings. Like I saw Bieber saying some crap about that. I'm like, what a loser. Are you a cuck? No, I don't give a fuck about all that. It should come because you like the woman enough. That is the truth. That I have a foundation built here and we're going to try some crazy shit. And it's the fingerprint of her perfume and my girl in my bed that I psychologically have a deep influence on versus some new bimbo, etc. Whatever it is. Okay. That's the truth. Or at least sign up for the threesome and stop being a baby about it. The point is you don't be loyal out of fear. Oh, it would break. I've seen women do that too. It would break his heart. Break his fucking heart then. Let him learn the real way. Like women who don't ghost men. Well, I wouldn't want a man to do that to me. You're not a man. Fuck ass. You're allowed to ghost men. Love is not a charity. Let him man up and learn. He doesn't get free energy from you for being a loser. Conserve your energy. And the majority of men, if you tell them, I had a great time, but I actually just don't think, I think we do better as friends. I don't think we should see each other. But they're going to put you down. If they were masculine in any sense, they're not going to stand there and be like, thank you for reporting this to me. I am a mature, emotionally intelligent man. And part of being emotionally intelligent means taking abuse from a bitch. No, they're going to say, go fuck yourself. You were lucky to get a date from me. That's the truth. Okay. It's just a waste of your energy. And if they don't say that, at best, they'll just stay quiet. Sure. Okay. If they're not at all have self-respect, fine, maybe. But I'm like, no, men shouldn't ghost women because women mold to men. They should confront and say what they don't like and see how the woman reacts. Men are confrontational and action-oriented. You all, if you don't like a man, ghost him. What are you doing? Stop trying to manage him and micromanage and report in, oh, golden rule. Golden rule? Okay, why don't you reach up to the top shelf then? What golden rule? No. Golden rule with gender. Golden gender rule. GGR. It's the new rule, okay? You understand? So I think it's very important to reflect on these things. What should I do now? It's a vampire, so I got to probably get into my coffin, right? Yeah. Hybrid. There's no moon out, so I can't go werewolf. But you understand what I'm saying? I want you to be happy. I want you to feel safe. I want you to rise in love, okay? Because I'm definitely going to. I know you can as well, okay? We can heal a lot of these things. We don't even have to see it as healing as if something's broken. We are just learning together, and we're getting closer to deep stories, etc. You can live your life. You don't have to listen to any of this. They've lived across history without deep love. You'll be fine. You'll survive. But are you trying to survive, or are you trying to experience the deepest magic that you can in this life? And I'm like, you are capable of experiencing that. Love is a real biochemical phenomena. So I'm like, let's have that. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy life. We only have a short time here. Let's have a great time. Yeah? All right. Fuck off. I'm going to go be loyal to my woman.